welcome to the deep dive. We're here to give you that essential analysis of your source material, basically a shortcut so you're instantly up to speed.
Yep.
And today, wow, we are tackling a massive figure, someone whose influence, it just spans music, media, global finance. Shawn Corey Carter, Jay-Z.
Yeah, and you really do need that multidisciplinary approach for him, right?
Yeah.
It's fitting. We're not just looking at, a foundational East Coast rapper.
No, not at all.
We're looking at the architect, really, of a $2.6 billion enterprise. Our sources, they paint him as the world's richest musical artist. That's as of 2025. But also businessman, media proprietor.
That number, $2.6 billion, is just astronomical, especially when you stack it next to his artistic achievements. I mean, we're talking about the guy who's tied for the most #1 albums for any solo artist on the Billboard 200.
14 of them.
14. And culturally, I mean, Billboard and Vibe in 2023 calling him the greatest rapper of all time. That's huge.
It really is. So our mission here for this deep dive is really focusing on the mechanics, How did this rags to riches story actually happen?
All right. What were the key moments?
Exactly. We need to understand those critical pivots. How did the street hustler transition into this global mogul? So we'll dig into his artistic techniques, his business strategies, and we have to confront some of the very personal, often controversial details that kind of define his story still.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this phenomenal journey, starting right at the beginning, the bedrock, Brooklyn.
Yeah, Marcy houses. Born in '69, grew up in this public housing project in Bed-Stuy. You just can't understand Jay-Z without understanding Marcy. It's the essential backdrop.
The engine of his authenticity, you could say.
Absolutely. And the sources really emphasize the hardship there. Life marked by instability. His father, Adnis Reeves, left when Shawn was just 11.
11. Wow.
Yeah, leaving his mother, Gloria Carter, to raise him and his 3 older siblings alone. That absence, it creates a void, doesn't it? It kind of forces this survivalist thinking very early on.
And that necessity, that survival instinct, it quickly turns into a pretty dangerous lifestyle. We know he dropped out of high school, sophomore year at Trenton Central.
Right.
But the sources point to something much darker than just, not finishing school.
Oh, definitely. And this is where his lyrics, they almost function as autobiography, don't they? The really shocking detail, and it's documented, comes from his own song, You Must Love Me, back in '97.
Okay.
Is the claim that in 1982, when he was just 12 years old.
12?
12. He shot his older brother, Eric, in the shoulder.
Good grief. Why?
The lyrics say it was over stolen jewelry.
That's incredibly intense. Such a personal thing to put out there.
Yeah.
Really highlights the stakes of his world back then.
Exactly. And beyond that specific awful incident, the sources confirm he got deep into selling crack cocaine during his youth, was apparently shot at 3 different times.
So this wasn't just material for songs. This was his reality.
Brutal reality, yeah. But that trauma, that survival mode, it did find an outlet. He was known locally as Jazzy, right? But he picked the stage name Jay-Z. And that was a direct homage, a tribute to his early mentor, the rapper Jazzo.
Ah, okay. The Jazzo connection.
Yeah, rooted right in that early East Coast hip-hop scene. You can actually hear him, like his early sound, on some of Jazzo's tracks from the late 80s, early 90s. Hawaiian Sophie is one people point to.
Gotcha. And it was that hustle, that belief in doing it yourself, that led to his first real business move, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He couldn't get a major label deal.
Nope. Rejected all over. So he didn't wait around.
Right.
And this, you could argue, this is maybe the single most important strategic move of his entire career. Just pure independent control. 1995, him, Damon Dame Dash, Kareem Bigsburg, they start Roc-A-Fella Records. And it was grassroots vertical integration.
Yeah.
They controlled everything, making the music, manufacturing it, literally burning CDs.
Out of his car, right?
Selling them out of his car trunk, yeah. They were the label, the distributor, the artist, all in one.
That independence eventually got them noticed, got them a distribution deal with priority for the debut. But that original partnership, Roc-A-Fella, it didn't last forever.
Yeah.
That split with Dame Dash seems pretty key to his next phase.
Oh, hugely key. The sources mark the end of that chapter around 2004. That's when Jay-Z, Dash, and Biggs sold their remaining stakes in Roc-A-Fella to Def Jam.
Okay.
And this sale, it wasn't just them parting ways. It was Jay-Z basically trading his status as this indie label co-founder for a seat at the big corporate table. It really paved the way for him moving into those executive roles later on.
Which we'll definitely get to. Okay, so following that foundation period, let's track the musical evolution that came out of all that struggle. Starting with the debut album, Reasonable Doubt, 1996.
Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, I mean, it's almost universally seen as a classic now.
Right.
It pops up on all the critical lists, Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Albums, stuff like that. It's considered like the purest version of his hustler persona on record.
But commercially, it wasn't huge right away.
No, interestingly, it was a slow burn. Only went gold at first. Took years to actually hit platinum. The massive commercial explosion that came later with Volume 2, Hard Knock Life in '98.
Ah, Volume 2. Now, that was a seismic shift.
Huge. 5x platinum gave him that massive genre-defining hit, Hard Knock Life, ghetto anthem.
Unavoidable back then.
Totally. But here's a twist. Even though the album won the Grammy for Best Rap Album, the sources show Jay-Z actually protested the ceremony itself.
He boycotted it. What?
Yeah, skipped it entirely. And the reason, it says a lot about his commitment to the genre even then. He was protesting what he saw as the industry's disrespect for hip-hop. Specifically, DMX didn't get a nomination, despite his massive success.
Right, DMX was huge then.
Exactly. And Jay-Z was also protesting the Academy not broadcasting the Urban Music Awards during the main show. So it wasn't just personal gain, it was a statement about hip-hop's cultural value, right at his peak of early success.
That's telling. It's also interesting that his first actual #1 on the U.S. charts wasn't his own song.
Right. It was Mariah Carey's Heartbreaker in '99. He was the featured guest. Shows how early he was leveraging that street cred into like massive mainstream pop crossovers.
That agility, that crossover ability, it's definitely a theme. But at the core, it's the lyrics, right? His influence comes down to that skill.
Fundamentally, yes. The sources constantly talk about his technical mastery, complex wordplay, those double meanings, the specific way he boasts, rooted in his actual life story.
And the technical detail about how he writes. That's wild.
Yeah, the fact that he apparently writes everything in his head. No pen, no pad.
That's just hard to fathom.
It really is. It speaks to this incredible mental agility, right?
Yeah.
Composing, structuring these intricate verses, just holding it all in his mind. But beyond the mental feat, you got to look at his rhythm, too. He really popularized that fast rapping style, triplet time.
Okay, for listeners maybe not familiar, break down triplet time quickly. What does that actually mean in rap?
Sure. So a lot of traditional rap sticks pretty close to the beat, maybe one syllable per beat, right?
Okay.
Triplet time, which he worked on with Jazzo back in the day, it's this complex rhythm where you fit 3 syllables or notes into the space where you'd normally have 2 meets.
Oh, okay.
It gives the flow this urgency, this speed and complexity. It made his verses sound way denser, more intricate than a lot of rappers at the time. He also mastered using silence, those little pauses or rests, to add drama, add weight to the punchlines.
Really sophisticated stuff. Okay, moving into the 2000s, that mastery really peaked with The Blueprint, right? Released on, of all dates, September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, the timing was obviously historic, unforgettable. But artistically, what's amazing about The Blueprint is how fast it came together. Sources claim Jay wrote the whole album in just 2 days. Just this incredible burst of creativity. And it launched careers, too. It had 4 tracks from this producer nobody really knew yet, Kanye West.
Right, early Kanye.
And that iconic feature and production from Eminem on Renegade. Just a powerhouse album.
And this era also gave us that infamous beef with Nas. It really kicked off with Takeover at Summer Jam 2001.
Oh man, that feud basically defined New York hip-hop for years. Takeover initially had shots at Mobb Deep's Prodigy too, but Jay strategically used that huge platform to go right at Nas, who'd been critical of him. He added a whole new scathing verse right there on stage, challenging Nas's whole position, his legacy, and the back and forth after that, including Nas's legendary reply, Ether, it just escalated, became this epic battle for King of New York. You could argue that pressure brought out some of the best music from both of them during that time.
Intense creative rivalry. Okay, so after this incredibly productive period, Jay-Z announces he's retiring, marked by the Black Album in 2003.
Yeah, the Black Album was definitely positioned as his final record, his swan song. Got legendary producers involved, Rick Rubin, Eminem, Kanye again.
And the big retirement concert.
Right, the huge retirement party show at Madison Square Garden, November 2003. It was filmed for the documentary Fade to Black, massive cultural moment. And importantly, it was for charity, too. All proceeds went to charity. The guest list was insane. Beyoncé was there, but also, significantly, the mothers of Tupac and Biggie Smalls, kind of signaling unity.
But retirement didn't exactly stick, did it?
Ha! Not even close. It led almost straight away into, well, a surprising artistic collaboration and, maybe more importantly, a really critical corporate move.
Okay, what was the collab?
That was the mashup EP in 2004, Collision Course, with the rock band Linkin Park.
Oh, yeah, the Encore. That was everywhere.
Huge hit. Won them a Grammy for Best Rap Song Collaboration. And the sources mention this surreal moment at the Grammys where they performed it, and Paul McCartney joins them on stage and starts weaving in lyrics from Yesterday. Just showed Jay's unbelievable ability to cross genres and stages.
Wild. But that same year, 2004, that's the corporate pivot you mentioned, shifting from entrepreneur to executive.
Exactly. Right after selling his Roc-A-Fella stake, he takes the job as president and CEO of Def Jam Recordings. Held it from 2004 to 2007.
Big move.
Huge signal. He's not just an artist anymore, he's running one of the biggest labels. And he was effective. His time there is really marked by launching the careers of two massive R&B stars, Rihanna and Ne-Yo. He was building that resume as a global talent spotter, a corporate leader.
And while he was running Def Jam, he also publicly ended that feud with Nas, right?
That's right. At this Power 105.1 concert in 2005, which was ironically called I Declare War, everyone expected more beef. Instead, Jay shocks the entire place by bringing Nas out on stage. They shake hands, perform this powerful mix of Jay's Dead Presidents and Nas's The World Is Yours. Ended years of public fighting right there. Huge moment for East Coast hip-hop unity.
Wow. Okay, so he officially comes back to recording in 2006. But his 2007 album, American Gangster, that was different. A concept album.
Yeah, American Gangster was interesting. It was inspired by the movie, obviously. It was like a return to his roots lyrically, but looking at it through this more mature kind of socio-political filter.
No, so?
Well, take the lead single, Blue Magic. He explicitly weaves in this complex commentary about systemic issues right into the street narrative. Famously calls out big political names from the 80s, saying, blame Reagan for making me into a monster, blame Oliver North and Iran contraband that they sponsored.
Right, linking his hustle to government actions.
Exactly. It was a pretty sophisticated argument for a rap single at the time.
Okay, and one more big cultural moment before we get fully into the business empire. Glastonbury, 2008. That caused quite a stir.
Oh, incredible. Total culture clash moment. Jay-Z announced as the headliner for Glastonbury in the UK, first major hip-hop act to do so. And the festival was, traditionally very rock-focused.
The rock guys weren't happy.
Noel Gallagher from Oasis was the loudest critic, basically said hip-hop didn't belong there, shouldn't headline. The backlash was fierce.
But Jay's response, the sources say, was genius.
Pure tactical brilliance. He didn't ignore it. He leaned right into it, came out on stage, fiddled with a guitar for a bit, and then, just legendarily, tongue firmly in cheek, opens his set with a full cover of Oasis's biggest song, Wonderwall.
No way.
Yes, it just completely sucked the air out of the criticism. Proved his point right. Hip-hop was now global, could command any stage, no matter the history. Brilliant move.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, that assertion of dominance leads us perfectly into the next chapter. The billionaire blueprint. We're talking mogul Jay-Z now.
Yeah, by 2019, he's officially the first hip-hop billionaire. And like we said, by 2025, the sources put his net worth at $2.6 billion. And the crazy thing is, most of that wealth built outside of performing music.
Wow.
His philosophy, the sources say, it's simple but deep. My brands are an extension of me. The story he tells in the music, the authenticity, that's what fuels the value of everything else he touches.
And that philosophy really takes shape with Roc Nation, right?
Yeah.
Founded in 2008, right after he left Def Jam.
Exactly. Roc Nation started with Live Nation. It's not just a label. It's this whole vertically integrated entertainment machine, artist management, publishing, touring, and crucially, Roc Nation Sports. Launched in 2013 with CA. That sports division was a massive strategic move.
And making that move meant he had to do something kind of counterintuitive with his stake in the Brooklyn Nets, didn't he?
This detail really shows his long-term game. Jay had put about $1 million into the Nets over the years. From 2003 to 2013, he was a big part of them moving to Brooklyn.
Right, the face of the team almost.
Yeah. But to become a certified sports agent and launch Roc Nation Sports, rules meant he had to give up that ownership stake. And get this, he sold it for only about $350,000.
Wait, so he lost like $650,000 on the cash investment?
Well, the cash investment, yes. Seems crazy on the surface, right? but it's pure strategy.
How so?
The sources suggest the value of the platform, the access, the potential income from managing global sports stars through Roc Nation Sports. That far outweighed holding a small piece of one basketball team. He traded sentimental value for global market access. Smart long-term play.
Sacrificing the present for the future. Makes sense.
Yeah.
He applied that kind of thinking to Rocawear, too, his clothing brand.
Yeah, Rocawear started way back in '99. That gave him his first taste of big licensing money. In 2007, he sells the rights for a massive $204 million.
Wow.
But here's the key. He sold the rights and the day-to-day operations, freeing up huge capital. But he strategically kept his stake in the company and creative oversight. So he keeps making money from it passively without managing the logistics. Maximize income, minimize hassle. Smart. We also see him move into hospitality with the 40/40 Club.
Right, the luxury sports bar chain. Started in 2003. Another pillar in his sort of physical real estate and hospitality portfolio. And the sources say there are big plans to expand that, maybe into like 20 airports. Again, thinking scale, high traffic spots.
And don't forget Reebok.
Oh yeah, the Reebok deal in 2003, huge cultural moment. First rapper to have his own signature shoe endorsement like that, the S. Carter collection, opened the door for so many others.
The diversification just keeps going from there. High-end drinks, tech.
Yeah, the drink side is a huge part of his net worth now. 2014, he buys 100% of Armand de Brignac champagne, Ace of Spades, right?
The gold bottle.
That one. Reportedly paid $200 million. He'd been linked to it since '06, but taking full ownership. That's a big move into actually owning luxury goods manufacturing and distribution.
Okay, next up. Tidal. Probably his most talked about tech move.
Definitely the most scrutinized.
Yeah.
Tidal came out of buying this Norwegian tech company, Aspiro, for $56 million in 2015. The whole pitch was artist-owned streaming. Right, taking on Spotify and Apple Music.
Exactly. The mission was explicit. Restore value to music, offer higher quality sound, better royalty payouts for artists. It was a direct critique of the low rates on other platforms. Bold move.
And he didn't stop there with tech, right? Looking at luxury services.
Yeah, that's where the investment in JetSmarter comes in, an app for booking private jets. He invested back in 2015. You see a pattern, investing in the digital tools and services for the super rich. Plus, his media stuff includes the Life Plus Times website, sort of a culture and lifestyle mag online, started in 2011. Often spins off content from his 2010 book, Decoded.
Which was part memoir, part lyric breakdown, right?
Exactly. Unique format. And then, rounding out this sprawling empire, cannabis.
Well, yes, the latest frontier.
Yep, November 2020 takes the role of Chief Visionary Officer for TPCO Holding Corp. So you look at the whole picture: music, management, fashion, bars, champagne, private jets, streaming, cannabis. It's incredibly diversified. The empire isn't banking on any one thing.
Okay, let's shift now to the personal side. Family, philanthropy, and those persistent legal issues.
Right. And the relationship with Beyoncé, the Carters, I mean, you could argue it's the most powerful celebrity couple of our time.
Easily.
Started collaborating way back in 2002, 03 Bonnie and Clyde, Crazy in Love. Got married privately in 2008. And their combined power, commercially, off the charts, named Hollywood's top-earning couple multiple times early on.
And their joint album, Everything Is Love, in 2018, that was a big moment too. Credited just as the Carters.
Yeah, a real statement of unity and shared artistry. And their family life is woven into the public story too. Daughter Blue Ivy, born 2012, youngest person ever to chart on Billboard thanks to his song Glory.
Amazing.
Then the twins, Rumi and Sir, in 2017. And their wealth is visible in things like real estate. That record-breaking $200 million they paid for that incredible Tidal Ondo house in Malibu in 2023.
Just staggering numbers. And the sources mention they might be looking to move possibly to the UK.
Yeah, reports mention them possibly exploring a permanent move, maybe the Cotswolds. Just reflects that global status they have now.
What's so striking here is the contrast, right? This seemingly stable, powerful family unit set against these really complex, decades-old legal issues that keep surfacing. Let's get into those, starting with the stabbing incident from 1999.
Right. The original story is well known. Happened at the Kit Kat Club in NYC in 1999. Record exec Lance Rivera gets stabbed. The allegation was it was over bootlegging Jay-Z's music.
And Jay pleaded guilty?
He surrendered to police and, yeah, in 2001, pleaded guilty to aggravated assault, got 3 years probation. That's been part of his official story for over 20 years.
But then 2023 happens, and the sources reveal something completely unexpected.
This is where the deep dive really gets deep. 2023, 22 years after the guilty plea, Lance Rivera himself comes out publicly and says Jay-Z was not the person who stabbed him.
Whoa! He recanted.
Publicly recanted. And this lines up exactly with what Nas claimed way back in his 2001 diss track Ether. Remember that beef?
Yeah, of course.
Nas claimed Jay took the fall for someone else. People dismissed it as just beef talk back then, but Rivera's statement completely backs it up.
That is absolutely staggering. It totally reframes that entire part of this history. Makes you wonder who he was protecting.
Exactly. Huge revelation forces a complete reevaluation of that conviction narrative.
Okay, separate from that, there's a more recent civil lawsuit the sources cover.
Right, late 2024. An anonymous woman, Jane Doe, filed a suit accusing Jay-Z of sexual assault back in 2000 after the MTV VMAs.
Yeah, Jay-Z's team immediately denied it very strongly, called it blackmail.
Oh.
But the legal outcome here is really important for listeners to grasp. February 2025, the lawsuit was voluntarily dismissed with prejudice.
Okay, explain with prejudice again. What does that mean legally?
It's crucial. Dismissed with prejudice means the case is permanently closed. The plaintiff cannot bring the same lawsuit against Jay-Z in that court ever again. Yeah.
And crucially, the sources stress this dismissal happened with no settlement paid. Although, it should be noted, the plaintiff publicly stood by her claims even after the dismissal. But legally, a dismissal with prejudice and no settlement, that's generally seen as a very strong outcome for the defense.
Okay, understood. Shifting gears a bit, let's look at his philanthropy, because the sources show a really consistent commitment to giving back.
Oh, definitely. Back in 2003, he and his mom, Gloria Carter, started the Shawn Carter Foundation. Focuses on college scholarships, helping kids facing tough socioeconomic situations get through school.
And beyond the foundation.
His giving is often big-scale, sometimes very quiet. He teamed up with Diddy to pledge $1 million for Hurricane Katrina release efforts. Worked with the UN and MTV on global water shortage issues. And here's a powerful example of the private side. Sources reveal he secretly set up a trust fund for the children of Sean Bell.
Sean Bell, killed by NYPD officers in 2006.
Right. Jay-Z apparently believes strongly in anonymous giving. The greatest form of giving is anonymous to anonymous, is a quote attributed to him.
Powerful stuff. His political involvement has shifted over time too, hasn't it?
Yeah, early on, huge Barack Obama supporter, funded voter drives, concerts, publicly endorsed same-sex marriage back in 2012, which is a big deal then.
Right.
He and Beyoncé showed up at a Hillary Clinton rally in 2016.
And his comments on Donald Trump, they seem to evolve.
They did. Initially, in 2018, he called Trump a superbug. Pretty direct. But later, he offered this more complex take, suggested that Trump's divisive approach inadvertently forced society, especially white people, to confront uncomfortable truths about white privilege.
Interesting. So less about the person, more about the societal effect.
Exactly. Shows him thinking about structural impact, not just political personalities.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just recap the sheer scale of achievement here.
The list is just insane. 25 Grammys, the most for any hip-hop artist ever. First rapper inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. First solo living rapper in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 2021. The artistic legacy is undeniable.
So what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? The sources paint this picture of Jay-Z's life as this constant, sometimes contradictory blend of art, hustle, and, controversy.
I think the core insight here is this idea of perfect vertical integration in his life and career. His authentic, often really painful personal story coming up from RC Houses, that's the raw material.
Right.
That fuels the art. The art creates massive cultural capital, and that cultural capital, the influence, the legitimacy, that's what funds and powers the huge, diversified business empire. The $2.6 billion fortune is built on the back of the story itself.
It's an incredible, maybe unrepeatable model. Which leads us to our final provocative thought for you. Given that his focus has shifted so much, from making music to high-finance media global brands, and given most of that $2.6 billion comes from outside rapping, does the greatest rapper of all time even fully capture who Shawn Carter is anymore?
Or is he now something else entirely, like an institution, a strategic financial and cultural force in his own right? When you look at the complexity title, the net stakes sacrifice, that stunning reversal on the snapping conviction, you realize you're studying more than a musician. It's a case study in modern power, wealth, and controlling your own narrative.
A fascinating entity unto himself. Something definitely to think about. That wraps up our deep dive into the architect of the $2.6 billion empire.
Join us next time for more essential knowledge.